Rumors are swirling, and this time, they're not just whispers in the Forrester corridors or clickbait from gossip blogs. They're catching fire across Los Angeles. What started as scattered speculation has evolved into a narrative so volatile it could implode everything the Spencer Logan Forrester trinity has worked to protect. At the center of it all is the fallout from that night, the masked encounter, the mistaken identity, and the emotional wreckage left behind. But the latest theory pulsing through the entertainment world is far more dangerous: a possible pregnancy. Yes, the whispers are getting louder. Could there be a fall baby on the way? And if so, is this the twist that turns a botched revenge plot into a full-blown dynasty war? The night in question remains murky at best and scandalous at worst. Will Spencer, son of Bill, was seen leaving the party with a woman who appeared to be Electra Forrester. That's what he believed. That's what his memory, fogged by alcohol and emotional confusion, told him. But when Electra firmly denied ever returning to the party that night, and when security footage and witness statements aligned, it became chillingly clear: the woman in question wasn't Electra at all. It was Luna Nozawa. That revelation, already scandalous enough given Luna's supposed death and mysterious reappearance, triggered a deeper, darker panic behind closed doors. What really happened between Will and Luna that night? Did Will consent? Did Luna manipulate his state of mind? Was it truly a case of mistaken identity or something more calculated? At first, the scandal seemed containable. Electra, humiliated and betrayed, considered walking away from Will for good. Will, shattered by the truth, considered going public or disappearing altogether. But Luna? Luna has remained silent, poised, watching. And now the media buzz is growing, circling one looming question: is Luna pregnant? Insiders say Luna has been seen quietly visiting OB/GYN clinics under an alias. Others have noted her recent disappearance from public events, her refusal to speak to the press, her sudden shift to looser clothing. It's all circumstantial, sure, but this is LA. This is the bold and the beautiful. Circumstance can build empires or burn them down. If Luna is carrying Will's child, the consequences would be seismic. First, it weaponizes the scandal. Suddenly, what was whispered about in shame becomes a permanent bond. Luna wouldn't just be the woman at the center of a party night controversy, she'd be the mother of a Spencer heir. That baby, intentional or not, would connect her to power, money, and influence for the rest of her life. And not just any baby. A child conceived under false pretenses. A child that could either restore her reputation or destroy it, depending on how the story is spun. The potential narratives are explosive. From Luna's perspective, a pregnancy gives her leverage. It gives her relevance. After disappearing for months and staging a shock return under questionable circumstances, she now stands at the edge of a comeback no one saw coming. And if she plays it right, she could secure her place not just in Will's life, but in the Spencer legacy. She could become untouchable. Will, meanwhile, is trapped. If the pregnancy is confirmed, he'll be forced to reconcile with a moment he's barely begun to process. He still doesn't know what to call it. Assault? Manipulation? A betrayal of trust so profound that it left him spiraling? And now, that one night could redefine his entire future. Whether he wants to or not, he might have to co-parent with a woman he barely knows anymore, under circumstances that were anything but consensual. Electra, already reeling, is at a crossroads. She tried to be patient. She tried to be loyal. But this isn't just about a relationship anymore. It's about trauma. It's about reputation. It's about legacy. If Luna's carrying Will's child, Electra is forced into a decision she never wanted to make: fight for the man she loves despite everything, or walk away from a toxic spiral before it consumes her. Either way, her life will never be the same. The broader implications could rock the foundation of Forrester Creations and Spencer Publications. Public relations disasters, brand instability, internal alliances breaking apart. Brooke Logan has already voiced her concern behind closed doors, worried not only for her niece Electra, but for how this pregnancy scandal could bleed into company equity, public trust, and boardroom influence. Steffi and Thomas, still grieving Taylor, may find themselves dragged back into drama that could fracture the family again. If Luna tries to legitimize her claim through the baby, she may demand a seat at the table. And then there's Bill Spencer. He hasn't said a word publicly, but sources say he's already begun private consultations with attorneys and crisis managers. Bill won't let a scandal like this dictate the future of his family empire. If Luna's child is his grandchild, he'll want DNA proof. If the timeline doesn't add up, if there's any sense of manipulation, he'll go to war. And if Will refuses to acknowledge the child, there's talk that Bill might take legal action himself, all to protect the Spencer brand. But here's where things get even more twisted. What if Luna orchestrated this all along? There are whispers that she never died. That the car accident, the disappearance, the reemergence, it was all staged. A long con. A revenge plan. Maybe she wanted to teach Electra a lesson. Maybe she wanted to get back at the Forresters. Maybe she wanted to rise again, using scandal as fuel and a baby as a weapon. The idea sounds outrageous, until you look at her timing, her precision, and her silence. She's not running from the chaos. She's letting it build. Entertainment media is having a field day. Social feeds are ablaze with theories, leaked photos, conspiracy breakdowns, and polls asking fans who should win if the pregnancy is confirmed. The press is spinning every move into narrative gold. Will's crisis baby, Electra's broken heart, Luna's ultimate revenge. And all of it feeds the monster that the bold and the beautiful thrives on uncertainty, betrayal, and power struggles with high emotional stakes. At this point, there are only a few questions that matter. Is Luna really pregnant? Will she reveal the truth, or use it to manipulate the Spencer family into submission? Can Will recover from the emotional fallout and accept fatherhood if it becomes real? Will Electra walk away forever or stay and fight for the man she loves in spite of everything? And if this is truly the beginning of Luna's next power play, how far is she willing to go? The stakes have never been higher. A single night of deception now threatens to rewrite the destiny of 3 major families. Fall is coming, and with it, a child who might carry not only Spencer blood, but a legacy forged in betrayal. Stay tuned. The season of consequences is just beginning. Bill Spencer had weathered scandals, betrayals, boardroom wars, and family implosions, but nothing prepared him for the moment Luna Nozawa walked into his office alive, visibly pregnant, and claiming to be carrying a Spencer child. For a man who built his empire on control, the uncertainty in her voice was more threatening than any competitor ever had been. She stood in the doorway, calm, poised, as if returning from the grave wasn't the most shocking part of her reappearance. "It's Will's," she said, one hand resting gently on her stomach. "And I want you to know because this baby deserves the truth. And the Spencer name." Bill didn't say anything for several seconds. His mind refused to catch up to the scene unfolding in front of him. Luna had been presumed dead. Her disappearance had triggered weeks of mourning, confusion, and silence. The wrecked car. The trail of blood. The unanswered questions. Everyone had moved on, or at least tried to. And now here she was. No apology. No explanation. Just a bombshell and a smile. Bill's jaw tightened. His first instinct was to call security, but his second was to get answers. Luna didn't flinch under the weight of his gaze. "I know it's a lot," she said, her voice calm but insistent. "But I had to stay hidden for a while. I didn't know I was pregnant until after. And when I found out, I wasn't sure what to do. But this is a Spencer baby, and I want him or her to be recognized." Bill stood slowly from behind his desk, locking eyes with her. "You come back from the dead, pregnant, and expect me to just take your word for it?" His voice was cold, but Luna remained composed. "I expect you to want the truth. So test me. Test the baby. I'm not afraid. That was the challenge. And Bill never backed down from a challenge. But beneath the surface of his legendary stoicism, there was something else: dread. If Luna was telling the truth, if the child growing inside her really was Will's, then the implications would rock not just the Spencer family, but everything they'd built in the aftermath of the masked night scandal. Will was still reeling from the emotional wreckage of that night, barely able to process what had happened between him and Luna. Now he would be forced to confront something even heavier: the possibility that one night, blurred by confusion, misidentification, and betrayal, had created life. Bill moved quickly. Within hours, he had medical professionals on standby. He didn't care about optics. He didn't care about protocol. What he needed was truth, and he needed it fast. Luna agreed without hesitation. Blood samples were drawn. Legal waivers were signed. A prenatal paternity test was conducted using state-of-the-art, accelerated DNA matching. Results would take less than a week. During that time, tension across the Forrester and Spencer circles rose to unbearable levels. Electra Forrester, already emotionally undone from the masked deception, found herself bombarded by questions and reporters. She didn't comment. She didn't break. But behind closed doors, she was unraveling. She loved Will. She had forgiven more than anyone thought possible. But this? A child with the woman who pretended to be her in order to seduce Will? It was beyond comprehension. Will, for his part, was in complete shock. He hadn't seen Luna since the truth of her reappearance was confirmed. He hadn't spoken to her since she walked away from their brief, ill-fated moment of reunion. He hadn't even begun to process the psychological trauma of what had happened that night. The idea that he might be the father of her child? It dropped on him like a brick. He didn't remember consent. He didn't remember clarity. And yet now he was being told he might be a father. Behind the scenes, Ridge Forrester called for family unity, trying to calm the press fallout while protecting Hope and Electra from further humiliation. Brooke, though outwardly silent, remained privately infuriated, both at Luna's boldness and Bill's reaction. She lied about being dead, Ridge, Brooke said at one point. Now she walks into Bill's office with a belly and a claim, and he jumps to tests? Where's the scrutiny? But scrutiny was exactly what Bill was applying, behind every closed door, in every conversation with his legal team and private investigators. He wasn't buying Luna's story entirely. He wanted hard proof. Her sudden reappearance, perfectly timed with a late-term pregnancy and the swirling chaos of the masked night aftermath, was far too convenient. Still, if there was even a chance the child was a Spencer, Bill had a duty to uncover the truth. Days passed. The paternity test results arrived. Bill reviewed them in private, alone, no family, no lawyers. The paper was simple. The verdict was clear. Will Spencer was the biological father of Luna's unborn child. The match was conclusive. There was no mistake. Bill sat down slowly, paper trembling in his hand, the weight of the result pressing down on his chest. The story had just shifted into dangerous territory. The next moves would be everything. Would Luna go public? Would she demand financial support, legal recognition, or full access to the Spencer legacy? Would Will be ready, capable of stepping into fatherhood under these circumstances? Would Electra stay or walk away from a relationship now tied forever to a lie? The media, always circling, caught wind of the test's conclusion within hours. The headlines were relentless. Spencer heir confirmed. Luna's baby bombshell rocks LA. From masked seduction to motherhood, Luna's comeback shocks the elite. Luna, notably, remained silent. She released no statement. She didn't call a press conference. She didn't cry on talk shows or sell an interview. She simply existed, waiting for the world to come to her. And they would. Because now she had something no one could ignore: a child with Spencer DNA. The implications reached further than anyone anticipated. Legally, the Spencer estate would have to account for the child in matters of inheritance and shares. Publicly, the scandal turned into a power shift. Luna wasn't just some unstable figure from the past. She was now the future of the Spencer line, whether the family liked it or not. Bill called a private family meeting. He wanted control, clarity, and most of all, containment. Will sat in the room, pale and silent. Electra stood in the corner, arms crossed, tears unshed. Brooke, Ridge, and even Carter showed up uninvited. Everyone wanted answers. Everyone had questions. But Bill, calm and commanding, laid it out flat. There's no more speculation. The test was conclusive. Luna's baby is Will's. That makes it my grandchild. I don't care how this happened. I care what we do next. But there was care. There was anger. Sadness. Betrayal. Carter walked out. Brooke refused to speak. Electra finally broke. So that's it? We just pretend like none of it matters? Like she didn't lie, didn't manipulate, didn't use Will's trauma to climb back into this family. Will finally spoke. I don't know how to feel about any of it. I don't remember consenting. I don't remember wanting that night. But I remember her face. And now she's carrying my child. The room went quiet. That's where things stand now. A child on the way. A father in emotional crisis. A woman who faked her death now holding the most powerful currency in the city, a Spencer heir. And a family scrambling to control the fallout before it burns everything down. What comes next? No one knows. But it's clear that nothing will ever be the same again. The game has changed. And Luna just reshuffled the deck, asterisk asterisk.